want to see behind the door. Do you have any doors where you live?
I do.
Yeah. What are your doors for, typically? What do you use the doors for?
To keep things in and to keep people out.
Keep things in and keep things out. And this time of year, this kind of weather, do you keep your exterior doors open or closed? Closed. Yeah, you can close to keep the things that might come in and out, like the cold or like whatever might want to walk that you would not want to have walk in your home. So, but if you had the chance and it was nice weather and there was no concern for other people or for four-legged creatures, would you leave your door open?
Probably.
You would. Cool. All right. I want you to then think of a place in your imagination where people live without doors. There's a community of people, and they have their own homes, but they have no doors. What do you think that kind of community would be like, to not have to have doors?
Probably very friendly.
Yeah, there'd be a lot of trust needed there, right? Yeah, like what we hope. We say in our baptism that we do all these things. We say this over people being baptized, and we say, you do all these things, live in the community of faith, so that you may trust in God, right? So trust in God, right? Yeah. So imagine in that community with no doors that somebody went in the woods and you heard a tree fell, and all of a sudden, after they did some sawing, they came back and they had on their shoulder a door, and they put it up on their home. And then other people thought, we need one of those too. So they went in the woods, and then they came back. And doors, doors, doors. What do you think happened in that community after everybody had doors?
But they weren't as friendly anymore.
Their life changed dramatically. It did. I think you're right. Well, guess what? Somebody was passing through that community, never seen doors, went into the woods and cut a tree down and came in there with one of these things on their shoulder. And imagine, you're going to have to help me, and set it up like that. Hold it steady. Sat down at that quote-unquote door, brought out an abundance of food.
Not doing such a good job.
Well, all right, that's a piece of bread, right? A couple more things in here. Corn and carrots and peas. Sat down at that door table, and people opened their doors and looked out. They got their stuff. They brought it out to that table, sat down. They ate and feasted and shared life together in a way they never had since they had doors, and realized what was missing in their lives. So I got a really hard question for you. Do we have a table here in this room?
Yes.
I'm not talking about that one.
Right there.
Yes, we have a table, built in 1986, as a matter of fact, yeah, where we come to feast on the gifts of the Lord. Just as in that miracle today, people went to a party to feast, and something was missing, but it was supplied by Jesus, just as it's supplied for us today. So I want to thank you for taking care of all those goodies. And at the first service, I said, take one of those and hang on to it for the service. So which one would you hang on to?
Oh, the croissant.
All right, croissant. Thank you. Well done. Thank you. I'm remembering the one time I preached here. COVID. Saturday morning, I got a call from Pastor Tim. I've got COVID. Can you fill in? How do you say no in that context? That was the weirdest experience, and I'm so grateful I had that experience, because that's what clergy were doing Sunday in and Sunday out. Empty congregation. I was preaching to that screen back there. So good to see you folks here today. It really is good to see you here today. So therefore, grace and peace to you from God, our Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, the blessed Trinity, who declares even to the forsaken and the desolate, my delight is in you, especially in you. What do you say when you're at a concert and Mrs. Claus, Santa Claus, sits down next to you? Not just any concert. This was Duke Chapel, December 6th, for the Messiah, sitting real close up front, an empty chair beside me, and a woman dressed in head to toe as Mrs. Santa Claus sits next to you. What do you say? I'll tell you what I thought. Oh, you're here to learn a little bit about the real reason for the season, right? And I even looked at her and thought, you're mighty slim to be Mrs. Claus. I kept my mouth shut. I didn't know what to say. Finally, in the awkwardness, she spoke up. She said, I like to dress for special occasions. Want to see some pictures? Sure. She showed me her picture of her at Thanksgiving. She was a turkey. Could not. And then Halloween. Yeah, you got it. You know it. She was a pumpkin. Well, daggone it, the concert was starting. All she could say was, I get dressed like this a lot. And she mentioned in sort of bullet fashion, Groundhog Day, Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, Easter, da-da-da-da-da. And then she said this most amazing thing. I wish I could dress up every day of the year. I wish I could dress up every single day of the year. I hate we didn't exchange contact information. I'd invited her to church today. A special day to dress up, frankly. Jesus' first sign, first miracle, changing water into wine at a wedding where embarrassingly they had given out of the very thing you need to have at a wine party. Wedding party, wine. So I'd have told her, can you come dressed, arrayed for the wedding? Maybe part of the wedding party, or do you have a bride outfit? Or even better, why don't you come as Jesus' mother, Mary? And we could sing to you that plaintive song, Mary, did you know your baby boy would one day walk on water? And then add a verse, Mary, did you know you'd be rebuffed by him at a Canaan wedding party? How do you dress for the social disaster of the year? I had no wine. There's a wedding. All over social media, an outpouring of disgust would have come. What shame in not accommodating your guest, with the likelihood that some reality show would grow from this, detailing the rumination of a special day. The Hebrew Scriptures are replete with visions of the fullness of life that involve wine. Take, for example, just Isaiah 25, that chapter. There's the vision of the holy mountain. And central to that vision is a feast of well-aged wines. Wow. And yet here, at this wedding in Cana, a wineless horror. Israel knows how to dress for this kind of emptiness. They've worn the clothes of dissolution and the rags of forsakenness for generations. Exiled and vanquished. Well, that's what you come to expect. Except when the one who has the audacity to redress you and not leave you settled in the muddle. Settled in the muddle? No. My delight is in you. Hear that word, you, echoed. In you, in you, in you. My delight is in you. We should all run and find new clothes before such an overflowing abundance of new wine. 6, 30-gallon jars, overflowing. I don't think I did justice to the reading of that final part of the gospel for today. Let me try it a little differently here. Everyone serves the first wine, the good wine first, and then the inferior wine after the guests have become drunk. But you've kept the good wine until now? Frankly, this is a jarring sign of Jesus' glory, a jarring sign. His first miracle, like the very last miracle, when it wasn't just empty stone jars, it was a tomb stenching with death that became empty, Jesus' resurrection. These intrusive events challenge any settled assumption that we carry about life, and we do carry that about life. These intrusive signs of Jesus' glory become a counter-narrative to what is. What is? What is? Shrinking, empty churches. That's what is, especially since COVID. Where the wine is given out, where the budget is becoming less, where the seats are gathering dust. Why, in our North Carolina Synod alone, our North Carolina Lutheran Synod, just last year, 2024, five congregations closed, and more likely to come. But the funds from the sale of those properties, of those former ministries, they have become new wine, overflowing wine, providing a way for the church to live among the homeless at the dwelling in Winston-Salem. Look it up sometime. Type in the dwelling, and you'll learn about this ministry that those closed churches are funding. And among young adults who, by my count, are generationally removed from anything resembling church, probably 2 generations now, so that in places like Asheville, North Carolina, and in Durham, North Carolina, we're offering new wine in new vessels in ministries unthought of, house churches and coffee house churches, so that those 2 young adults can hear the echo from heaven, "My delight is in you, in you. God shall rejoice over you, you." Oh, but what is? What is? The political divide in this good land of America, where the opinions of those with whom we disagree may taste like stale vinegar, who appear dressed in ways that feel like burlap on your body, where institutions that have long held and served may not hold, in a land where yet 1 in 4 women sometime in their life are sexually abused, in a land where 40% of the wealth is held in the hands of 1%? What is? Even so, organizations like Better Angels, look that one up too, Better Angels, speak hope and understanding across chasms politically, forging a crucible of decency and dressed in faithful longing and centered in love, Jesus kind of love, reminding us on this King holiday weekend of his compelling dream. When you hear these words from that I Have a Dream speech, you can almost recite them with me. I have a dream today that right there in Alabama, little black boys and little black girls will be able to join hands with who? Little white boys and little white girls as brothers and sisters. Brothers and sisters. I have a dream today. Jesus, new wine. Such new wine never gives out. Recently, Percival Everett, a novelist from California, took Mark Twain's old American story of Huckleberry Finn. He updated it. It's a stretch to suggest that this new story is like new wine when Huck Finn has remained iconic in the American psyche. Nevertheless, this tale is now told from the point of view of the runaway slave, Jim. He's Huck's companion on their escape in the Mississippi. Runaway slave and a boy named Huck declared dead. That's the story Mark Twain told. But what's new? Along with seeing all this through the eyes of the slave, Jim, is the outcome. Jim returns to the farm he had to escape from. He helps free his wife and their child and crosses the Mississippi and goes across the Mississippi, and lo and behold, he frees other slaves. And he goes to free country, but there's a region-wide search for him, that runaway slave. When asked in that free state who he is, Jim answers, "My name is James." Not Jim. My name is James. A new name. No longer a slave. Jesus. New wine. You can hear Isaiah echoing across the ages, "My delight is in him," James. You can see even the steward at the Cana wedding offering James a full claret of fresh, new, overflowing wine. Isaiah and Jesus' first sign beg the question for us to explore. Have you seen God freeing people? Have you seen him freeing people? Then you've seen Jesus' glory. You've tasted the new wine of Cana. You're dressed anew. Why, that great Mississippi, it was a place of life and death for James and Huck and many other people. It was ever present. It was flowing. It was a source of both nourishment and escape and freedom, as well as a source of danger. We this morning renewed our baptism into that great Mississippi. Sorry to stretch the truth. Our washing in that great river. Our place of death and new life. Our place of our dissolution and our delight. The place of our broken, empty jars and our drinking the ever-flowing new wine of Jesus' glory. We too come to Cana. We too behold the jarring reality that Jesus brings inscrutable newness, dressing us every day in his glory. What is, according to Jesus? He's taking the wood of crucifixion and turning it into the wine of new community. What is, according to Jesus? He's taking death and taxes and filling this world with love and hope. What is, according to Jesus? He's taking retribution and hatred and turning it into forgiveness and reconciliation. At Cana, Jesus revealed his glory, setting people free. I want to finish with a playful poem by Peter Steele, simply entitled Cana. It's told from the perspective of someone attending this very wedding where Jesus was, perhaps dressed appropriately, not like that woman who came dressed in Advent as Mrs. Claus. It goes. It might have been a neurotic's paradise. With all that water there was endless washing. The catering shaky, most of us wondering what sort of promise such a beginning held for the couple's days and years. And then the wine ran out, clean out. What do you say? One always likes to moderate at these affairs. And what you mean is, there's more need than they can possibly provide for. Anyway, after a while, they give us wine in flagons, the kind of thing it was a privilege to drink or think about. I still don't know where they found it, how they bought it, why they kept it until then. I do remember, late in the piece, a man who'd made some toast and drank as if he meant them got up and left. His mother looking thoughtful, that, and the jars for water, and the way they seemed to glow. The jars of water, and the way they seemed to glow. How do you dress for such as that? At Cana in Galilee, at St. Philip on Falls of Neuse.